In terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left
but
or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question is.
Okay, then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense. Okay. Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government.
Quickly became clear that the reporter had done no research about Poilievre before coming to the interview. Poilievre did not get mad or throw insults at this man. The questions were dismantled quickly and clearly with
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you.
Are you supporting someone who's been found liable for?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was civil abuse. It wasn't actually rape, by the way. And E. Jean Carroll joked about all the money she's going to get and made a mockery out of this case. And I think that's offensive. There's a reason why women don't come forward. And when you have someone who says that and they make a mockery out of this civil court judgment, it's offensive to other women. It makes it harder for other women to come forward when another woman has made a mockery of it.
You said women don't come forward because they are afraid. They are afraid because they are defamed
and shamed,
by those
like you're trying to shame me this morning.
They are afraid to come forward, as you said, because they are defamed by those who commit the. That's what Donald Trump has been found guilty of doing.
He defended himself over that and denies that it ever happened, but he was not found guilty in a criminal court of law.
Mr. Trump, a group of national and Iowa pro-life leaders are circulating a letter that says anyone but Trump. Effectively, they say you can't be trusted as a pro-life advocate.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's their opinion. Look, I'm pro-life, but that's their opinion. And if they want to do that, hey, all I can tell you is this. As you know, I'm pro-life. I've been pro-life for a long time. In 1999, you said you were pro-choice and all. And I said, what did I say? You didn't read it. Read the full statement of what I said. Read the full statement. No, you're not reading the full statement. Go ahead, get out the full statement. Read it.
Tim Russert.
I know. I remember Tim Russert very well. He was a friend of mine. He was a good man. No, but read the full statement. Okay. Look, they have their choice. They can do what they have to do. I'm pro-life. They can do what they have to do. There'll be many people that will be voting for me, that I can tell you.
Trump there, some Ted Cruz, some his.
Like the full soundbite from Tim Russert, you said to him was, "I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of the."
Correct. Why didn't you read that? By the way, why didn't you read that before? No, but why didn't you read that before? You didn't read, I hate the concept of abortion. Excuse me. Very trustworthy. More so than you. Because you know what? You didn't read the question. See, when you quoted Tim Russert, you didn't read what you just said. Read it again. No, read it again. Go ahead.
Pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion.
Okay, you didn't read. Why didn't you say, when you asked the question before, that I hate the concept of abortion? No. You were quoting Tim Russert, and you were quoting, you were quoting Tim and you were quoting me. Why didn't you read my quote the way I said it?
I tried to pull it up and I didn't have Wi-Fi.
Well, then you got to get Wi-Fi, okay? Don't ask me questions like that. You're not a very good reporter doing that. Okay, go ahead. No, I said, with CNN, I said, I think you should give money to the vets. I've always said that. Wounded warriors and vets. I think you should give money to the vets. You have a question that now is a legitimate question? Do you apologize? No, do you apologize? Yeah.
For reading your words?
For not reading my words. No. For not reading my words. No, do you apologize for not reading my words? Excuse me, do you apologize for not reading my exact words?
Didn't come correct on black.
No. I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that. Excuse me. You quoted me and you took out the main part of the quote. I'm just asking, do you apologize?
You hate abortion, doesn't it?
Okay, forget you. Just forget it. Go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead.
Speaking of radical changes of heart, I want to ask you about what Donald Trump had to say just a couple of days ago. He said, and this is an exact quote statement he put out, "My administration will be great for women and their reproductive rights." You have a solid pro-life record for as long as you've been in public office. What do you make of what he is saying now, saying he is going to be protecting reproductive freedom, and then he could even support a constitutional amendment in Florida,
first off,
legalizing abortion?
I voted on the law. You didn't. It does not codify Roe. It goes far beyond what Roe says. It would provide taxpayer funding for abortion up to the moment of birth. Donald Trump has been consistent. He said that Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided. Before Roe v. Wade, this question was largely regulated by the states. Now that Roe v. Wade has been reversed, it will be again largely regulated by the states. Kamala Harris is the one that proposes the radical national abortion law.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males. Of 22 episodes that you've had.
Yeah, let's get into that.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? You know, I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's by his adult family member. So you have Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't.
specific name.
Joy.
Here's my
We're
question.
talking about
Here's my
strap.
question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your question.
Great. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay.
Okay. Great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert, in this book.
I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
This book is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right, or a Moms for Liberty activist's right, to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about.
And each parent, each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it one more time. Right. What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story? Why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said that if a child feels seen by this story.
Do you like them so much, Benjamin?
I mean, I've never said that. I can't say it again. But do you know what?
Well, you don't agree with this policy from Kemi Badenoch, though.
It's pretty weird in the deepest economic crisis we've had for decades that there is a government minister who is obsessing over where some people pee. I mean, Belinda, where do you think they were peeing last year?
Why does it, if it's little to you, you don't know what it's like being a girl at school or being a vulnerable woman in needing a safe space to run to.
I've never ever said they shouldn't have them in schools,
you've just said that it doesn't really matter because of cost of living, or why is it so important?
Where do you think they peed?
It matters to us.
Where do you think they peed before?
Where do I think they peed before? I've only ever known single-sex loos in nightclubs.
So where do you think transgender women peed before?
I think there were a tiny amount of transgender women before. Now the trans spectrum has become so vast.
Where do you think
it includes and every sexual deviant? No, I'm saying it now includes that.
How dare you say trans people?
She did not say that. No, I said the trans spectrum has been expanded so much. Does a huge disservice to genuine trans people.
Does that match Ofcom rules?
No, I didn't say that.
Did you listen to what Belinda said?
You just said the trans spectrum has extended to...
include the worst sexual deviants who hide under the umbrella, which does a huge disservice to trans women. A huge disservice to the trans community.
Benjamin, should lesbians be banned?
So outrageous.
Should lesbians be banned?
Putting words into my mouth is so outrageous. You don't know
should lesbians be banned?
Trans extremism has hurt the trans community more than women wanting their safe spaces ever could.
There are rapists.
Why have you brought lesbians into this, by the way?
Because she's saying that these people are going to target women. Well, should lesbians?
No, but Benjamin, you must note there is evidence, Benjamin, of trans, for example, in hospitals using that to women. There is evidence of that, Benjamin. This is not a made-up story. And so the...
don't need a door to stop them. People who are repugnant and heinous, and people who are... You know, the man that the woman in Clapham, he didn't need to go into a female toilet. He needed to put on a police uniform. The man that those two girls in the 2000s, the Ian Huntley, he didn't need to go into a women's toilet.
But do you not understand?
He just needed to pretend to be a caretaker.
Society has been conditioned to stop women complaining about men being in their bathroom.
Didn't need to go into a women's bathroom. He needed to look like a respectable member of society.
Of course not.
So the idea
and there's lots of ways to protect women in society.
I'm not saying trans people are. I'm saying the trans spectrum now shelters them. You're completely misquoting me because you cannot defend the argument that the trans spectrum has started to include...
Where do you think transgender people peed 10 years ago?
Because there was a tiny minority of transsexuals then.
That's not an answer.
Trans now means someone who wants to be non-binary one week, someone who wants to be a girl the next week, someone who suddenly identifies as a woman once he's been convicted of a sexual crime
with
in
Michael
prison.
Howard. Where do you think they peed?
I think back then, are you saying it made women comfortable back then? Because I've been in a loo before with transsexuals flashing. Right? And you're saying that my experience is completely invalid and I'm transphobic for having that experience.
Well, you are transphobic.
No, I am not, because I feel protective over the genuine trans community who are being slurred by trans community.
We have to be clear. You're saying that Belinda said that trans people were...
The transfer has been extended to...
Yes. Has been extended
Which
to
bit
include...
of that do you not understand?
So you're saying in prison who say they're women now are part of the trans community because if you don't, that's transphobic.
I couldn't give a damn about rights. should be locked up in prison are disgusting. I don't care how they identify. That's not the issue. The issue is that you're demonising the regular folk trying to lead their lives.
I'm protecting the trans community by not allowing the extremists to hijack the narrative of the genuine trans community who suffer gender dysphoria.
Where do you think they pee?
Because now it's all become a cult and a fashion, and it hides people with sexual deviances that use that door to access women's spaces.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that wrong?
Why is she being bullied for acknowledging something that's smart, truth, and factual?
Well, a couple things. Number one, whether you're an athlete or anyone else, if I hear you use the phrase "my truth," I immediately then discount everything else you say, because there isn't my truth or your truth. There's just the truth. And when you start using phrases like that, it tells me that
That's not true.
Your brain has been captured by something that I don't really respect.
That's not true.
Number two.
That's not true.
Number two, the attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean?
To
what did they build? What do you mean? What did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
The reason why it's still up and still running, whether it's losing money or not, is because of these black women who are in this.
Isn't it because of the investors?
No, Scott, stop it. You stop it now.
It's not. I was in Dickie's arena.
Who pays for it?
I was in Dickie's arena. Let me just tell you.
It says more about the people who are getting offended by it than her.
I think they're just disappointed that she appears to have been captured by the woke mob.
You don't like the word.
And here's the disappointment.
It's the white privilege.
Hold on,
let him articulate this, because I want to learn something.
I feel a little bad for her, because she's going to learn that it will never be enough. No matter how much of the phrasing, no matter how much of the groveling you do, it will never be enough for the people in that league that hate her guts.
Why do you assume
they hate her guts?
Why do you assume that she is trying to pander? Isn't it
because
also,
I hear the language.
Scott,
it's the language of the pander.
Scott,
I hear the phrase white privilege. Sports is the one place where nobody on the field has any privilege at all. She doesn't get extra points when she shoots because she's white. She gets the same number of points as anybody else. Sports is the great equalizer, and it just felt like to a lot of people that she was groveling for no reason, because she is an amazing player who deserves all the accolades she's getting right now for doing what she's doing for women's basketball.
All right,
You're done.
No, I'm.
So are you a Trump supporter or you're a Trump hater? And can you tell me why?
Get something to eat. It was
why?
lovely to have a conversation.
You didn't have a conversation. You interrupted me repeatedly and you mocked me, but I finally was able to bring you to be respectful.
Thank you.
Now you've learned how to behave.
So you're not going to suck me back into something.
I didn't suck you. I'm already here.
Sir, what's your name again?
My name's Arthur. And your name's Michael, correct?
Right. I really appreciate the time that you gave me. I want to shake your hand.
Okay.
And I want to wish you well.
So
I hope
I would strongly. You don't know. It's not about answering questions. I strongly suggest that you not mock Trump supporters. We're not a bunch of bumpkins who don't know any better. We are well versed and informed, as I was.
Oh, let me say this. I honestly, and I have the tape, I honestly don't believe that if you look at the tape, you will see that I was mocking Trump.
Yes, you were. Okay. Oh, brother.
I asked you a few questions. So let me just say this.
And then you interrupted me, and you made fun of me, and then you claimed that I said I don't care about the environment, which I never said. You said that. You are not... This is a Huffington Post reporter. You're not used to getting confronted on twisting the words of the subjects you interview. That's not acceptable.
If you enjoyed this video, keep the ball rolling and check out our other videos. There's plenty more to keep you entertained.